All right, I got another session here now with a couple of guys who, oh yeah, throw your headphones on. A couple of guys who are working on another cool Bitcoin project, wanted them to come up and share the project with you. I'm excited for it. I think it's something that we're going to see more of over the next decade, as Bitcoin is really becoming like a genre of all different kinds of media, kind of slowly but surely. These guys are early to that game. So introduce yourselves and talk about your movie.
My name's Christopher Arcella.
Got to get right up on it, Chris. Yeah.
I'm Christopher Arcella. I'm a film director and producer of a new project called the Bitcoin Executor.
I'm Daniel Mross, producer of the Rise and Rise of Bitcoin. Been in the Bitcoin space for some time. I met Christopher at the Unconfiscatable conference.
You guys gotta get, sorry, but you gotta get right up on the mic. A lot closer than you think.
Okay. All right, are we good now?
Yeah, that's
All
perfect.
Right, here we go.
Perfect.
I'm Dan Mross, one of the producers of the Rise and Rise of Bitcoin. I'm working with Christopher Arcella here, who is the director of the Bitcoin Executor, which is a film project that we started working on about 3 years ago. When we first met at the Las Vegas conference, the Unconfiscatable conference, Christopher approached me and gave me his film script. I don't know if he wants to tell the story, but
yeah, sure. Maybe I'll go back a little bit earlier than that. And 3 years ago, I was getting a lot of questions from people just asking me what Bitcoin is, and I got kind of tired of talking about it from scratch. And so I thought, wouldn't it be great if there was something I could send them that they would actually look at? Because I would send them links to docs or like to, no offense, some people watched the Rise and Rise of Bitcoin and they thought it was awesome, but everybody has their own flavor. So some people would want one thing or another thing, but there wasn't anything for people who didn't have the time. So they're working all day, they're coming home, and they just kind of wanted Netflix and chill. And I thought, well, maybe I could work on something like this. So one thing led to another, and I wrote a script and I started shopping it around. I got a little bit of initial money and headed over to Unconfiscatable, where I met Daniel. And it turns out that we had a lot in common.
Yeah, we actually we worked together for a couple months. I read the script. I really, really liked it. Kind of gave it a treatment. We went over it back and forth. We started working together and developing the script really closely. And after working together for about 6 months was when we first discovered that we both went to Virginia Tech at the same time and were in the same music scene and actually had some mutual friends. And so it was a little bit surreal, but also kind of post-working together serendipity to find out that we had actually known each other in a past life in a way.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we've spent a lot of time developing the script. We kind of put together a plan to get production started, and just as things were maturing, we ended up with the way everybody else ended up. COVID hit, and it threw a pretty significant curveball into our plans and our production.
But one really good thing about the pandemic or the lockdown time was that it gave us a chance to reassess what we were doing. And we started to think about it, and we were like, well, we're trying to force all the things that we want people to know about Bitcoin into a story rather than letting the story carry what we wanted them to know, or like diving into the world of Bitcoin through the story, making it more organic. So, excuse me. So we took that time to rewrite the script and put it straight. And I feel like we're in a much better place now. I think it's developed.
Yeah, I know we've said it a few times, but the early versions of the script felt kind of like you were cornered by a Bitcoiner at a party.
Yeah.
And we had the focus more on it. Yeah, we're focused on education first and the story second. And once we switched that around and focused on the story first, it actually became easier to kind of wind the education through the story because it takes a more natural path the way that people actually do discover Bitcoin. The story ultimately is about somebody discovering Bitcoin, finding their way to Bitcoin. They're in a situation in their life where everything isn't working out the way that they expect, and they're trying to do things right, but things aren't working out right. And they're a no coiner, and this situation that they're put into leads them on a way, their own path to discovering Bitcoin, and it's kind of through the eyes of a skeptic. So the audience gets to learn some of the common kind of criticisms with Bitcoin and sees how the character learns to deal with them and updates their knowledge once they learn more about Bitcoin.
Very cool. Can I ask you a little bit about Rise of Bitcoin?
Sure.
Because this was a really early Bitcoin documentary and one that I watched, and actually is my favorite one that of those documentaries, kind of that era. And it was part of my Bitcoin journey, man. Yeah. I remember meeting you actually at Bitcoin 2019, some like bar, terrace or something like that, and being like, oh, dude, that's like that was such a good movie, and it was really important to me. So I was cool to meet you. Yes. So tell us about it.
Yeah, Rise was, it was kind of lightning in a bottle, is how my brother always describes it. Back then, I was always telling him about all these things that were happening in the Bitcoin space. We wanted to make this. He suggested, hey, we should. This is hard to explain. You're always trying to explain this to me. Maybe you could make an explainer video for YouTube.
Yeah.
And that was our original goal. And we went out to get a few interviews with startup companies, and found ourselves in the middle of kind of a whirlstorm of Bitcoin activity, and just kept the cameras rolling.
Yeah.
Turned into a film. We were really fortunate to also find an editor who had worked for MTV for a number of years and had really good experience kind of editing together the type of content that we were filming. So all things aligned, and it worked out really, really well. It was a super fun premiere, and I can share that. I love that. I still, once in a while, even at this event, I've had one or two people come up to me and say, that movie really helped point me in the right direction. You included now, so I take it really to heart, and I appreciate it. And I share all those comments with my brother too. So Nick, if you're watching, kudos.
And if you haven't seen The Rise of Bitcoin, see it. It's the best Bitcoin documentary out there.
Yeah, it is. It is, and there's a couple of garbage ones out there. This was like a legit documentary, really, really well done.
Well, we tried to preserve some of the things that we thought would be timeless, and in the new film, that's something that we're kind of trying to deal with as well. There's kind of an ethos to Bitcoin that I feel like is becoming diluted today.
Yes.
And I think your company also represents some of that same ethos, and so those are things that we're trying to weave into the story, and things that are important to us still in the space as it becomes harder to distinguish the signal from the noise. We have an opportunity of crafting that into the story. So hopefully we can continue to lead people to what we feel is the right path to Bitcoin.
I appreciate that very much. So what's the timeline that we're looking at?
Well, we're hoping for having a final cut in about a year, around a year, more or less.
Okay, cool.
But who knows what's going to happen.
So the other big news is we just moved production here to Miami.
Yes, I heard that. That's pretty cool.
The film was being produced in New York originally, but Christopher just moved down here a week ago, and so.
And you're already here?
I'm not already here, but I'm planning to be. I have some plans to spend some more time down here in the future. So.
Excellent, man.
So the city's been pretty friendly with the film resources and things. It seems to be a red carpet kind of rolled out for that kind of thing here, so it's very welcoming. And I guess it seems to be a trend that a lot of people are coming down here as well.
Yeah, awesome, man. Well, thanks for your time, guys. I really appreciate the work you're doing for Bitcoin and have done, and just happy to be part of the movie in a small way and continue to work with you guys and support the effort. So let us know where we can find your movie, and you've got a little teaser kind of clip up and running now on the website.
Well, our website is thebitcoinexecutor.com, and there you can watch our 2-minute teaser. We're also on Twitter at Bitcoin Executor and Instagram Bitcoin Executor.
All right, thanks, dudes.
Thank you.
Take care.